Hey guys, good morning. Oh, I just didn't realize my hold on, I've got to plug in my microphone. All right, Donald Clark is the general authority of the LDS Church, and they are taking away freedom from children and women who are actually Americans. Actually Americans. And then they are filing probates against them. But, when you look here, it shows really weird things under Donald Clark, right? This one is very weird. OCC occupancy, contrary to that allowed by the C of O, chief of office, I don't know, or DOB records. So why are they talking about date of birth records in something called the building department records note? Garage door has been replaced with masonry that has a doorway window and AC sleeve penetrations at front of basement converting. Right? What the hell does that mean? Here's another one. Tree leaning uprooted. The condition was inspected and it was determined that no work order was necessary. The condition will not be inspected again for at least 90 days. All right. This is how they hide it, right? So let me just show you again. So when you're looking up these things right here, they're selling children as slaves, you guys, as slaves, stealing your genetic properties, your genetic materials, and then claiming that you are donating your children, which is absolutely outrageous. And then they stalk you. And, it's like a lot like the Scientology claims. And I'm not saying, I know that Karen Tucker and Piper Goldstein were both involved in Scientology because I can find them very easily on the on the websites. But look at this, Rod and Gun Club, also known as Donald Clark. I mean, he also has federal warrant authority. So what they do is they try to make you like you're crazy, and then they put you in some kind of probate mental health facility in a regional center that then gets moved to a state facility. So the reason you're not getting paid is you're actually on paper in a state facility. That's what I found out so far. So just keep going. Presumed owner of the real estate. Let's keep going. So Donald Clark is the general authority. I'm not saying all of these people are him, but what I am saying is that they use assumed names, right? So Donald Clark is the general authority of the Utah of the LDS Church, and then they hire men. I mean, these men that were hired were pretending to date me. So one of the guys that I dated admitted to traveling to Utah to get directions from somebody in Utah. I don't know if it was Donald Clark or not, at the LDS Church. And he's also, this boyfriend I had was also with Los Angeles Unified School District, with that initiating document claiming that they can do whatever they want. They can change your name at will. But that DOB one, I mean, I've never seen that. And when you click into it, it doesn't show it, right? But look how many, come on, look at this. Unlicensed vending. The police department responded to the complaint, determined that police action was not necessary. Police action was not necessary. Women are getting raped and children are getting stolen and sold. Police action is not necessary? Yes, it is. It's very necessary. So because he's everywhere, this guy, again, street condition, pothole, and remember, he has federal warrant authority. So the hatred they have for women and children in that church is detailed in the Alcoholics Anonymous chapter to the wives. I mean, if you ever read that, they're really, really very sexist about women. And I'm not saying that the LDS Church wrote that. That is about debt recovery, where they're suing you over and over again, but because you're in a state hospital, you don't ever have to show up in court, because guess what? On paper, you're in a state hospital, right? Because they want your eggs. So if there was really something wrong with you, they wouldn't want your eggs. You know, they wouldn't want to make a defective child. So what they do is they put you in a mental health probate, and then they torture you. And the way they torture you is through rape, theft of property, theft of assets, wage garnishments, lack of right to education, bullying, intimidation by police, people vandalizing your car, people breaking into your building, death threats. I mean, literally anything that they do, that Leah Remini discusses, I hope I'm saying her name right, Remini, discusses in that Scientology thing. The LDS Church does that as well. But I've also found when I look up my mother and my father that they're right next to the LDS Church. I mean, look at this. I'm just going to go down and see if I see anything else real quick. So, and so he's the owner of real estate. Remember, people are land. And they're doing it to certain races and certain genders, right? So go up here and go down here. District of Columbia, that's Washington, D.C. You can look up these addresses if you don't believe me, about like how they're doing it. Let's see. And then the other one, I just want to show you this one before. I mean, in California, it's got 58 addresses. I mean, how are you going to get that one pull that one out of a hat? This one, he's only got one. And that's Rasmussen Drive and Donald Clark. But he's also associated with the church. So, you know, when I talked to the DA, they just said you have to, you know, the action that you're going to bring is against the church. Because the police have a collaborative thing that they do with the church, but the police they're not investigating state agents like Victoria Pinchon for beatings, or any of the state agents. They're not investigating the ones who raped you. But they can't, because it's themselves. Like, the use of force committee is a really dangerous committee because they're ordering all kinds of bad things to happen to women as a hate crime against women. But because you don't really know, it's like so many people are involved, and they do it to make money, and they do it to sell your children by stealing eggs. You know, I know some women have had their embryos stolen, and then they put the embryo on ice, or they, you know, the embryo, I don't really necessarily believe that people who are going into certain Planned Parenthood clinics, I believe they're trying to say they're using the you know, the body parts, but I don't think that's true. I think they're taking the embryo and then growing it and claiming that you donated the embryo, and that is then a child they can use for torture experiments. And I think that is very unethical. And I think it's detailed in Roe versus Wade. But so, Jeffrey Wright. Let's see. I want to go back to the, like, we can look at this, but I mean, this is supposedly my mother's best friend, this person, right? And they're saying the police are called, but they're never, you know, they're never investigating anything. And what's odd is right here, 101, that's always the federal property number. And let's see, San Diego, Mission, presumed owner, Hooker. They try to also frame you as if you are promiscuous, which if you watch the Scientology documentary series, you're going to find that they target people, and we learned about this in The Wizard of Oz. Okay? Oz is opportunity zones, and those opportunity zones are women and children. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't also happen to men, so please don't think I'm saying that. I just know that in the church, the most money they're making is through human slavery. So people tried to say, oh, this isn't, trust me, I reported being raped. I reported being trafficked as a child to the church. They did nothing about it. So they do know, and they are doing this to cause extreme suffering to people. And then this suffering translates into billions of dollars. They have over $100 billion and are preventing the rights of children and women to have their own earnings, their own children. I mean, it's very, very sick. And if you look up one of my fake names, remember Rancho Cucamonga is down there over and over again. And then there's one at Palm. That's interesting. So, I mean, is this a fake name? I don't know. It's being used again and again. But when they have the right to change your name at will, it's kind of hard to track this stuff down. So, I just wanted to show you that. See what this is. There's some more crazy. Oh yeah, and in The Wizard of Oz, they've got the flying monkeys. Those are the people that try to make you feel crazy, or the people that they've placed in your building to observe you, that when you look them up, they're actually OBGYNs or psychiatrists. You need to look up everyone in your building if you're a targeted individual, because the state through the police will place people, because all of these people are getting paid to torture you, literally. So it's really, really sick. Look, another 138 people right here. I mean, come on. So they just attach people to different properties. So they can just use the property and then take out a permit on this property, and then they can do business anywhere they want under the construction codes. Because there's this one thing that I found, PRM Property Investments. Let's see who is on this. Michelle Panetta, Christina Panetta. Oh my God. Let me see if I can get that. So if you look at blueprints, right? Davis blueprint is, blueprints are in the blueprint for a construction site. There's this one thing that says they can get any materials they need to complete the project. So because the sale of children is worth the most money, they go and they gather eggs, or, it's like, it just says that in DLS. What is that? Let's see. DLS. I don't know what DLS is. Let me see. Yeah, they go gathering of the properties because those eggs are worth more to sell as children than they are, even to use to make pills or whatever. I mean, they don't have to take your ovaries when they're taking eggs. They don't have to, but they are anyway. Sometimes I can just find the Army on here. So DLS is, it's all over, but it starts in California, goes to, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.